Hey everyone, my name's Andrew Hong. I work in professional services as a business analyst. I'm a hobby engineer. I do a bunch of coding on the side, whether that's front end work, back end work, data science, Solidity, whatever you name it. I just dabble in a bit of everything. And what I really wanted to tackle, or start tackling in this hackathon, was how do we make a composable identity with our Ethereum address? Most of what we currently have that represents our identity is not composable. Right, so our transaction data, whether that's tied to our Ethereum address or whether that transaction data is posts that we've made on Twitter or on GitHub, that's not really movable from place to place, so it's hard to re-represent that data. Same with social graphs. Most platforms or all platforms don't let us export our social graph, so there's no way for us to kind of compose it across platforms under one identity. Um, I think that that is starting to change. We have a composable layer of essentially fungible and non-fungible tokens or aggregated and unique accounts that allow us to kind of re-represent, reprogram everything from our participation, our creditworthiness, our skill and knowledge, our interactions with different platforms and people. And with sybil resistant IDs and tiered entry IDs, we're kind of hitting a phase where we're not exporting the whole social graph, but at least pieces of it that can be all everything here can be pieced together to start forming a decentralized identity. Obviously, that's a lot to try to tackle in a hackathon. So, in this hack in the last week, I just wanted to connect our GitHub and Twitter account to an Ethereum address. The reason for this being a lot of Web3, DeFi platforms to prevent Sybil attacks or just some sort of link to Web2, they have you go through this process of you signing a message with your Twitter handle, then you post that signature to your Twitter, and then they do a little bit of web scraping to check, okay, does the signature resolve into the address that signed that Twitter handle? If it does, then we'll add it to our database as a connection, right? But that makes it so there's no privacy, and it also makes it so that both developers and users have to go through the same process over and over again. It's just inefficient. Um, so what I've created here is essentially a way for me to do that verification process. So here I'm signing a message and I'm going to post it on Twitter. So this is just the signature of the Twitter. And now I can claim a verification. So this is a verifiable credential that's issued by a Certo agent following a Certo schema. And essentially the idea here is I'm going to claim a verification, and this VC sits in the Certo agent, and now I can have MetaMask snaps handle the permissioned access to this API. So if I wanted to check for a Twitter credential, MetaMask Snap will say, okay, send me a signed message saying that you're going to give Twitter access. And if this authenticates to the address that you're requesting, then we'll return the associated Twitter handle. And this is the Twitter handle that I just posted. Right. So the idea here is this is kind of tying into how wallets already manage permission connections, but now this is permission access to user data, and it's not stored on some like on like every platform's own centralized server, right? I will note that this Snap integration wasn't fully built. I think the Snap itself is connecting, but given MetaMask Snaps is still in development, the build was failing, but the code is there. So right now you can just think about it as there's an API function that sits in the front end, but that API function could just be moved into the Snap instead. I've also gone through this for GitHub as well, but GitHub, it's harder to web scrape. So in this case, I'm going to sign my GitHub handle again, and I'm going to post this here in a gist, a GitHub gist, this kind of like a Twitter post, if you think about it. And now I'm going to paste this link into the gist, and I'm going to ask for credential. The credential's been issued, and I follow the same path here. I'm saying, okay, I want to give this dApp GitHub access, and it's going to be able to pull up my handle and pull up the proof that I posted. And that's all I have. Thank you.